Olivo, and I want to thank both of them for being here and running for public office. We need to say that we also invited Jaime Diaz, who is also running for this position. He had decided not to join us, and we have to follow our bylaws, and we let everybody know.
Wonder
so
why.
The audience knows if the candidate does not show up to the forum, we cannot support them. We cannot endorse them. All right. So I just want everybody to realize that, and that's in our bylaws, and we have to follow the rules. So we are doing that, and we let him know that we respect his decision not to come in. So thank you, Ms. Garza. Thank you, Mr. Olivo, for coming in and for sharing your viewpoints with us this evening. And so what I'm going to do is I really want to get to know both of you, as we all do. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead, and the way I'm going to run the forum is I will be asking a question, and I'll call on one of you. And then after he or she answers the question, you will have 2 minutes to answer. The other candidate will follow up and answer. Then the following question, it'll be in reverse, all right, to make it fair for everybody. We want to be as fair as possible to everybody, so everybody has the same opportunity as the other person. All right? So, first of all, again, thank you for being here to both candidates. I really want to get to know both of you. And so the first question is, or the first thing I want to do is I would like each one of you to introduce yourself. I want you to tell us about yourself, your family, your educational background, and your occupation. Let us know who you are, okay? And we're going to start with Mr. Olivo. You'll be the first to answer this, all right? So you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Ms. Garza. My name is Frankie Olivo. I grew up at Rockwell Apartments on Schreiber Drive. I attended my public education at Bettis Elementary, Oliveda Middle School, and the Homer Hanna High School. I graduated from the University of Texas at Brownsville, and I obtained my major in history, government, and secondary education. I am a proud alumni of Leadership Brownsville, Class 31, an organization that helps future leaders understand how municipal government operates and the importance that nonprofit organizations have within our city. Currently, I am the court coordinator for the 404 Judicial District Court, working for a state district judge. I also have the honor and privilege of co-hosting a podcast titled Brownsville Talk.
Woohoo!
Through the COVID-19 pandemic, we have brought up the latest issues that have arisen in our city and school district. The community has been able to ask questions from the mayor for the city of Brownsville, Mr. Trey Mendez, City Commissioner Jessica Petro, doctors, neurologists, dentists, to help us understand this novel virus that we're dealing with. I am running for BISD as a board trustee for Place 2 because I want to be that decisive leader that our district needs. My focus will be on our special needs department and special needs students, also making sure that all our employees receive an adequate compensation, a raise above market value. That is why I am running for BISD for Place 2. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Ms. Garza, the same thing, an introduction. Please tell us about yourself, your family, your educational background, and your occupation.
Good intro.
Okay, you'll have 2 minutes. You may begin when you're ready.
Hello, Mr. Olivo, Mr. Perez, and Mr. Cardenas, everyone here. My name is Denise Garza. I graduated from Rivera High School. I did my elementary, middle school also with BISD, having attended Morningside Elementary and Perkins Middle School. I have 2 children, one attending UIW and the other one who is at Veterans High School. I have 19 years of service working for the school district. 16 were with BISD, and the other 3 right now, I'm currently with San Benito working in the Special Services Department. as a sped clerk. I audit all the paperwork before it gets finalized. I also, in 2009, attended TSTC. I went into the pharmacy technician. I did not look into continuing the pharmacy technician as I had little ones, and working for the school district gave me that opportunity to continue having my weekends and my holidays off with my children. I currently sit on 2 boards, West Brownsville Little League, having been the past vice president, current secretary. I also sit for the Cameron County Children's Advocacy Center, which represents Monica and Maggie's house. I am the vice president right now, sitting in that position, and I am here for the children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Okay,
That goes to Frankie.
so now we're gonna start with the questions of the forum, and the question will first go to Ms. Garza. Okay, so Ms. Garza, why are you running for the school board? What are your priorities for BISD? And why should BEST, Brownsville Educators Stand Together, American Federation of Teachers, support your candidacy? You have 2 minutes. You may begin.
Thank you. As a former employee for the district and a parent for the district, I see the dire need that our district is going through right now. I left BISD due to the fact that, the pay was not here. So when I left to San Benito, it being a smaller district, it offers so much more to our employees that now I feel like, why is it that a smaller district can pay more than a big district that provides, half of our employees are from BISD, and how can I say it?
Well, think about it.
Our teachers need to be compensated. Our special services, we need to get more teachers to be there to lower the caseload. I'm sorry, can I stop? I'm sorry.
Yes.
How many more minutes do I have?
Seconds.
Lázaro?
You have 1 minute left.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. This is my first forum.
It's okay. Take your time.
But I feel that, we need proper leadership there for our district. And my parents are educators, my family are educators, and I want to be that voice for the parents, for the community. And I want to bring back that trust and respect that our district once had. Right now, we are divided, and they don't trust our district, and therefore they are moving to the charter schools. And I think we need to retain those students and bring back that trust to keep our families in our district where they deserve to get the proper education.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Lidwell, this goes to you now. It's the same question. Why are you running for the school board? What are your priorities for BISD? And why should Brownsville Educators Stand Together, American Federation of Teachers, support your candidacy? You have 2 minutes. May begin.
This election is gonna be one like no other. I feel that our district has done a disservice to our community and our employees and our students in their response dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic. My focus will be to make sure that BISD is that district on a hill. I want to make sure that our employees know that I will be an advocate for them, since I do have a background in education. I want our employees to know that I will make sure that they are well compensated, that our special needs department has all the resources available to ensure that there is success for our students to be able to graduate. My goals for the district will be for our special needs department to hire more paraprofessionals, to give them more training, to assist our teachers. We will be providing them with the latest technology to replace the outdated resources and ensure that the money allocated for this department is not moved elsewhere. I would work with my colleagues on the board to make sure that the compensation plan for our teachers with seniority are met. Another goal of mine would be to make all the employees receive an adequate raise across the board. BEST should support my candidacy because I do have a background in education. I have been at the forefront at all the major issues that have pertained to the district, to our students, to the safety and concern of everybody as a whole. I have been vocal thanks to my podcast and to our community. We together has come as one and brought the issues to the forefront. That is one of the reasons why I deserve your endorsement.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so we're going to the next question. All right, Mr. Olivo, this goes to you first. All right, do you support the District of Innovation? Would you place an action item on the BISD board agenda to repeal it? Mr. Olivo.
Thank you. The District of Innovation, from my understanding, a few years back was done so we can compete with our charter schools starting early. I am in favor of this. What I'm not in favor of is giving too much authority to certain individuals. I feel that we already have a certain culture of retaliation within our district. And if we were to implement the District of Innovation besides the calendar, we would do a disservice. We would have to start from scratch. If we were to want to implement it, we would have to go back to the beginning. We would have to have a committee. We would have to have our community's input to see what is the sentiment out there. So no, I would be hesitant to put an agenda item to deal with this. I would want a committee to be formed. I would want my community's input regarding this situation, because this is something that would affect all our students as a whole, and it wouldn't be right for me to put this on the agenda item without seeking guidance from a committee and from my community, our community.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ms. Garza, the question now goes to you. Do you support the District of Innovation? And would you place an action item on the BISD board agenda to repeal it?
Okay, a few years ago when the DOI was introduced, it was introduced having to compete with our charter schools. You know, we were starting 2 weeks after, so parents were looking to start earlier. That was what was introduced to the community. But then going back, there were so many pros and cons to the DOI. And putting an agenda item, like Mr. Olivo said, it's something that would have to take, you know, a lot of consideration, you know, getting feedback from our community, you know, putting a team together to see what we need to do, you know, so where we don't mess up. And then our parents, again, we go back to where they start leaving our district. It's something that would have to be a teamwork with administrators, parents, teachers, and our, you know, more importantly, the community. We need to get all that feedback. I could not put something on the agenda just, you know, to paint a pretty picture to our teachers and to our community. And I am for, you know, a community being, the committee being set up so that we can consider what is best for our district.
Did she just say
Thank you, ma'am.
what Mr.
Now,
Olivo
you know, I'm
said?
not going to go to the next question yet. I'm going to stick with that question. I'm going to do a follow-up question on this.
Good.
Because both of you mentioned that the DOI was put in place for a reason, to start the school 2 weeks earlier to compete with the charter schools. So the follow-up question is, and it goes to you, Mr. Olivo, first, and then Ms. Garza second. So you both said it. So I'm going to ask the question, did it work? Did it work? Mr. Olivo?
Well, at the time, I do feel that it did work, but now we are seeing a rapid change in losing our students. So at the time, I would dare say that we did have some impact in regards to competing with our charter schools. But look at us now. We are losing a lot of our students based on our administration's lack of consistency, lack of communication, lack of transparency regarding this COVID-19 pandemic. So this is something that needs to be addressed. We are losing a lot of students year in and year out. We need to make sure that we have our affairs in order. We need to provide the best product available for our community. Performing Arts Center. That is something that we should be looking into. We need to compete with the charter schools in every sense of the word. I think that would be a great way for our community to come together. Our students would be enthusiastic about performing in front of a 1,500 audience. Our band, our choir, our drill team, our dance team would be able to showcase our amazing talent that we have. So was it successful? I think when it was implemented, yes, I would dare say it was successful. But now, based on a lack of leadership that we have seen in the district because of this COVID-19 pandemic, we are losing and gonna lose 2,000-3,000 students in this upcoming year because of the lack of leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Garza, the follow-up question goes to you. Back to the DOI. You know, you had stated that it was to bring students in earlier to compete with the charter. So my follow-up question was, do you think it worked?
In my opinion, I don't think it worked. Our parents, I speak to many parents. I have teacher friends who have kids in the charter schools, and they will personally say that starting the same time of the charters had nothing to do with it. It has to go back to our leadership, our customer service to our parents. Many times parents says they walk into a campus and they're not even treated with a hello, with a good morning. And that is why they are moving to a charter school where it's a smaller ratio of students. The staff gets to know their parents more in a personal relationship. So it had nothing to do with the 2 weeks. And I feel like it did not help us in any way. We're still losing kids. In order for us to retain kids, we need to treat them like they're our customers. We need to give them and the parents the best respect when they walk into our campus, And the way we're going to attract them is by implementing programs, starting at the elementary base and moving all the way up to the high school.
We have programs.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to the next question. This goes to Ms. Garza first. All right. BISD is currently last in teacher pay in the RGV. Classified pay, while improved, is also near the bottom of the pay in the RGV. What would you do as a board member to remedy it? And what would you see as a fair starting salary for certified and for classified employees? Ms. Garza.
Going back to how I said, when you leave the district, you realize how our teachers are not properly paid down here.
We do have many
We are
programs.
the biggest district south of San Antonio, and it's very sad that us being the biggest district, we cannot compete with all these other districts. You have many people who leave to go teach in Houston because the stipends are more, the starting pay is more. I believe we need to go back, look at our compensation pay and a one-year teacher and what a zero experience teacher has, and we need to hire a committee to come and look at everything.
We already did.
Also going to certify classified employees. Having 19 years of experience, I will tell you, the pay did not go up. Even with the pay increases that we were given, they wouldn't go up like they should be. We had, our minimum wage went up, but BISD never moved up their pay for our classified employees. And I think we need to look at that. You have people working for HEB as a cashier getting paid $10.
How?
You have a custodian
Are you
getting
going
paid
to increase?
$9. So I am for creating a committee. I am for hiring,
No more
someone to
hiring.
come and look at our compensation pay, because our teachers
We already
work
did that.
day in and day out. Their job never ends. Holidays, same thing. And they need to be, properly paid like everybody
How?
else. We want to keep our teachers, and we don't want them to leave to any other district because BISD has the best teachers.
How?
Thank you, Ms. Garza. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Olivo, back to the question. BISD is currently last in teacher pay and in the RGB. Okay, classified pay, while improved, is also near the bottom of the pay in the RGB. What would you do as a board member to remedy it? And what do you see as a fair starting salary for the certified and for the classified employees?
I think it's very important that we see what other districts our size are paying their employees. Being one of the biggest districts in our area, there is a need for us to ensure that our teachers understand that we have their back, that we empathize with them, and that we are grateful for everything that they do for our district and our students. I would be all in favor of supporting a 3-year pay increase on salary recommendations to ensure that our salaries are competitive. It does not make sense to me how a smaller school, neighboring school districts have a higher starting pay for their new coming teachers. I would want to make our district competitive. I would reward our teachers with seniority.
No.
There is a
No, they can't.
need, again, to see what other districts the size of ours
No, they can't.
is paying, so we can guarantee that we will pay them above market value. We need to work with our financial experts to see what is the information that we need to be able to make BISD desirable for other educators out there. Lastly, I think there is a need for us under HB 3. Our district is required to provide salary increases to our employees, and we need to make sure that we follow this when it comes to our salaries. It is very important for us to reward and thank
I don't think so.
our teachers, our staff for everything that they do to make BISD great.
Thank you, sir.
I give that to Frankie.
Okay, so we're off to the next question. Mr. Olivo, this goes to you first and Ms. Garza second. Okay. Have you ever been arrested or pleaded guilty to a crime? Have you received a pretrial diversion or deferred adjudication for a crime? Mr. Olivo, you're first up on this.
Thank you for this question. Yes, I was. I was arrested for harassment back in 2018. I understand that going into this political world, your organization and many were going to crucify me for this. It's understandable. The beauty of life is about evolving, learning from our mistakes. I have not and will not let this define who I am as a person and what I'm going to be. I have been raised by forgetting the mistakes, but always carrying with me the lessons. I do not have a criminal record. I understand that for many are questioning my candidacy, but doesn't every role model make mistakes? What can we teach our children moving forward? That one mistake will define them for the rest of their lives? I understand politics, and I appreciate your question. This is a lesson that I've learned, and I could be that example for young men and women in our middle schools, in our high schools, that not one mistake will define a person for who they will become. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciated. Ms. Garza, question goes to you. Have you ever been arrested or pleaded guilty to a crime? Have you received a pretrial diversion or deferred adjudication for a crime?
I have no criminal record. I've never been arrested.
No.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. The next question goes to Ms. Garza first. And
Nothing at all.
here it is. Classified workers are being deemed
It's a bullcrap
essential
question.
employees and being made to come in onto campuses to do work that could be done from their homes. What are your thoughts on this? As a board member, what would you do?
I'm currently a classified employee for San Benito, and I am for having a rotating schedule. They don't have to be there 5 days, 8 hours. I believe our administration should limit the amount of people who are on campus. Therefore, many of our classified employees can be given assignments to work from home. You know, having, you know, X amount on a Monday, on a Tuesday. I am one of those who has been, you know, granted to work 2 days remotely, 3 days on campus. And I feel that BISD should be doing the same thing to our classified employees, all classified employees, even with our custodians, because this is a virus that is not going away.
How are
And
they
we need to
going to
keep
work
our
from
employees-
home? Custodians.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Olivo, this goes to you. The same question. Classified workers are being deemed essential employees and being made to come in onto campuses to do work that could be done from their homes. What are your thoughts on this? As a board member, what would you do?
I would advocate for making sure that all our employees who are able to work from home to do so. We have seen within our district during these past couple weeks, months, how we have had skeleton crews, we have had block scheduling at work per se, and individuals at the Glass Palace have turned out positive with limited amount of people in their departments. It does not seem fair for us to be putting people at risk. Our district has failed in even acknowledging that we have lost 5-6 employees to the COVID-19 pandemic. Unfortunately, we just lost a special needs student due to COVID a couple days ago. It is not safe for us to go back into the classroom. I understand that there are some teachers, some employees that want to go back. I understand their reasonings for it, but I feel that the district hasn't made it safe for them to return. We have ordered expired PPEs. We have not been giving our nurses the proper N95 masks, which are essential resources that they need. Our special services have to carry around plexiglass from school to school because our schools do not have them. Our leadership has failed our district in not preparing for this moment. We have seen how 5 million, 2.2 million have been dished out, but what do we have to show for it? I understand that individuals want to go back, but unfortunately, it is not safe. If we can work from home, I would be in favor of it, and allow those who volunteer, who do want to go back into the classrooms, to do so if that is their wish.
Thank you, sir. All right, the next question, Mr. Olivo, you will start, and we'll follow up with Ms. Garza. All right, the current student special ed staff, special education staff ratios have been lowered for the 2021 school year. We are getting reports from special ed teachers across the district that they are not being followed. How would you ensure that campuses and special services follow staffing requirements? Mr. Olivo?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Our special needs department and students. This is one of the reasons why I decided to run for BISD in this position, to focus on them. For far too long, our district has failed to adhere to the concerns, to the needs, to the wants of our department and our students. And we have seen that time and time again by not having the proper technology available to them. They have outdated resources, but more importantly, we have failed them as a district by not providing them with the manpower. We do not have enough paraprofessionals. I have heard from BI teachers that have told me that they are stretched thin, that they only have 1, possibly 2 paras in their classroom. That is not acceptable. For anybody who knows, our special needs students, sometimes they need help eating. They need help using the restroom. Some are violent, some kick, some scratch, some bite. We need more paraprofessionals in the classrooms. I understand that They do an amazing job, but for one or two paraprofessionals to be stretched thin is not fair to them. They are not paid what they deserve. So we as a district need to do better to hire more paraprofessionals, to give them more training, to compensate them above market value, to make sure that they know that we appreciate them for everything that they do for our district. So we are failing as a district by not providing enough paraprofessionals in this position.
Thank you. Ms. Garza, let me reread the question. The current student special education staff ratios have been lowered for the 2021 school year. We are getting reports from the special education teachers across the district that these are not being followed. How would you ensure that campuses and special services follow staffing requirements? Ms. Garza.
Hello?
I agree, we do need more professionals, but aside from paraprofessionals, we also need more teachers. Having
find it.
paraprofessionals can only do so much. They cannot assist our teachers with any type of art work or documentation.
On
So
Thursday.
by getting more special ed teachers, lowering their student caseload will help them, go into the campuses and to the students to provide that service that they need. Our paraprofessionals, I know in the units, we should have about, I would say maybe 5 paraprofessionals in those units, because from a life skills unit, you have your kids who are medically fragile to some who are a little more high functioning. And when you have only one teacher with 15 students, those 15 students is not like your regular 15 students that you have in a gen ed. Those 15 students can be like a double of students. We need to work with special services to train everybody. They need to have all the proper, technology that they need. Many of our
Frankie
kids
Sanchez?
rely on the assistive technology, but without that technology, they cannot be successful. Paraprofessionals need to be trained to assist these students with assistive technology. Many times people don't want to work in the units because of the pay. Therefore, that's why we need to get our classified employees that are in special ed higher pay. Make them want to work with these kids. We don't want to just place anybody in those units. You have to have somebody who truly has the passion to work with our special needs community, because those kids need to be
6 p.m.
treated with lots of love and care and also educated properly. So we need to compensate our teachers by giving
Time
them.
is up.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay,
Yes.
next question. We'll
Reading.
start with you, Ms. Garza.
And copying a lot of
And
Frankie's
then we'll
answers.
follow with Mr. Olivo. Okay, Ms. Garza, how should seniority in BISD work? Do you support last in, first out? What policy would you create on seniority for campus and department staff? Go ahead, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. My years that I worked for BISD, it's funny to say about seniority. We had many senior employees who would say, well, I have seniority here. You don't have seniority. And they would treat the newer employees, a little bit more like disrespectful because they had seniority. I do believe in seniority, that to a certain extent,
She is reading.
if it's like, oh, you're the last one in, first one out. But if you have one of those employees, a new teacher who just started teaching, who's going above and beyond with her students, and a teacher with seniority who's, not doing what they need to fully be doing because I have seniority. I believe in order for our administration to keep the person who's going above and beyond, teaching their students, who has everybody who's passing their STAR results, versus someone who maybe doesn't have that, teaching where their students are not passing. I believe we need to set policy in place for seniority. And I believe we also need to look at, when it comes to last one in, first one out, we need to consider how we're going to work on that, because sometimes you may be getting rid of a teacher who is an excellent teacher. So it's putting everything into policy for BISD, making sure our district follows that policy. That's how I would implement as a board member if I were to be voted in by the community.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Olivo, same
No.
question goes to you. How should seniority in BISD work? Do you support the last in, first out? What policy would you create on seniority for a campus department staff?
It's all about respect. Seniority has to be going back to the basics. I support seniority to go year to year at the campus level. We need to make it to where the amount of years counts for something. We need to show our employees, our district as a whole, that they matter to us.
Oh, yes.
There are issues in regards to those teachers with seniority being put into a pool.
Yes.
That will not happen when we are elected. I will make sure that teachers know that they are valued and respected for all the years of service, whether at the district or on a campus. Also, I want to make sure that it is very well stated that I am all in favor of our teachers with seniority receiving a pay raise after their 30, 35, 40 years in the district. It is important for us to motivate, encourage our teachers with seniority to come back to us. We have seen lately how 76 teachers through attrition were forced to retire. I'm not in favor of that. I want to make sure our teachers with seniority understand that they're valued, appreciated, and we are thankful for everything that they've done. So I would make adjustments to the step scale that limits them in receiving a raise. We are doing our district a disservice by not compensating, rewarding those teachers that went far and beyond year in and year out. It's all about respect for our teachers with seniority.
Thank you, sir. Okay, the next question goes back to you, Mr. Olivo. Would you be in favor of having impartial mediators instead of area administrators to hear the level 1 and the level 2 grievances? Could you explain your answer on that?
Yes, sir. It's important for us to have an outside party. It does not seem feasible for me for somebody within our own house to be hearing grievances on the behalf of the district. We have heard time and time again how the culture at BISD is all about retaliation. If you do not get in line, you'll be dealt with. That is something that we all know. I want to make sure when elected, I change that culture. I want our parents, our teachers to be able to criticize me, to tell me what is going wrong with our district. Maybe we can work things out before it leads to a grievance. So I would be all in favor of having an outside party, an independent party, come in and listen to these grievances. That way, our person in charge of hearing it in-house does not get reprimanded, does not feel the retaliation, because that unfortunately is the culture that we have here within our district. So I would be all in favor of outsourcing for this particular reason due to grievances.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Garza, now it goes to you. Would you be in favor of having impartial mediators instead of area administrators to hear the level 1 and the level 2 grievances?
Yes, sir. I am in favor of getting an outside party to come and review any grievances. I believe if we were to handle it at the campus level, we should avoid going to any type of grievances. But when it gets to that point, we need someone to come in with an open mind who has no close relationship. As we know, Brownsville, everybody knows everybody here. So I believe we need to bring someone in who has nothing to do with the administrator, with the employee who's filing the grievance, in order to get their proper and fair share of getting their voice listened to and to get what they need to get taken care of before it gets any out of control, any lawsuits or anything like that. So I am in favor of the district implementing and looking for vendors to come be the mediator for these level 1 and level 2 grievances.
More vendors.
Okay, thank you. This next question, Ms. Garza, you will start. But before I ask the question, something that I remember from the first grade, and this goes into the question. I remember my first grade teacher, there was about 25 kids in our classroom. She went and she whispered something to the first child in the first row, and then that child was told to whisper what they heard to the second child and so forth, and until it got through the whole classroom. I remember that vividly, Miss Stone's class at Sharp Elementary, okay? So, that was many years ago. But anyway, I remember that. So this question is kind of based on that. So listen to the question, Ms. Garza. Information about policy and procedures given directly to campus administrators by the superintendent often gets misinterpreted and miscommunicated once it goes back to the campus staff. As a board member, how would you make certain that this information is clearly and uniformly disseminated to the campus staff?
What I would change is, as for transparency, anything that comes from the superintendent, I feel there's no need for that message to be sent to administrators. There should be a mass email that is sent out directly to all staff. And then the administrator can bring them in, and then if they have any questions, that email can be explained to them properly before, because we all know emails, text messages, everything gets misinterpreted by the way you read it. So I think if it's coming straight to the employee from the superintendent, then we can understand it better, and we can go and have any questions. We can get to our administrator. There's times that emails get sent to administrators, to all our administrators, and you have a friend that works at one campus, and then they're like, did you hear about this? And no, because another administrator did not relay that same information to their staff. So I think in order for that information to get distributed evenly, it needs to come and be sent out into a mass email to everybody. Everyone should have an email address, including our maintenance personnel, our custodians, our bus drivers, and our classified employees, to get any information that needs to be relayed from our superintendent.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Olivo, let me reread the question. Information about policy and procedures given directly to the campus administrators by the superintendent often gets misinterpreted, okay, or miscommunicated to the campus staff. So what would you do to prevent that?
Thank you. We have seen how currently our superintendent has been failing our district by not having everybody up to speed. We should not be having our 2 deputy superintendents be the ones that deliver the message. As a board member, I would want our superintendent to use our KBSD channel and provide our community with all the latest updates that have been transpiring within our district. I would like for that to get done in English and in Spanish. It is unfortunate because I am honored to be part of a podcast that provides the latest information for our community. Our community members have tuned in because they say, hey, we hear it from you before we hear it from administration. We are failing our district by not providing information. Information is power. We need to come together and make sure that we know the direction that BISD has for our district. We have seen throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, we have no guidance. Going back, there are still some questions as to what's going to happen when we go back on September the 21st for teachers, September the 28th for our students. That is because a lack of dialogue, a lack of communication with our superintendent. Once elected, I will make sure that he does weekly press conferences in English and Spanish to keep everybody up to date on all the latest issues that are going on at BISD. We should not hear from somebody else that there was a positive case here, a positive case there. I want to hear from the man himself.
Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on to the next question. Mr. Olivo, you're going to be the first one to respond. The district is projected to lose 5,000 students in the next 5 years. As an elected board member, what steps would you take to address this? Would you favor layoffs, closing campuses, merging schools, or something else? Okay, please explain and provide rationale for your solution. Okay, Mr. Olivo, your first 2 minutes.
Thank you. That is kind of hard to answer. I do not have all the information in front of me. I would be doing everybody a disservice by saying to do one thing or the other. I am not in that position yet. What I can tell you is that we need to do everything possible to make sure that we try our best to retain our students year in and year out. We have been competing with our charter schools. We need to get back to our A-rated district from TEA. And that was because of the help and guidance of our employees, of our parents, of our volunteers, of organizations such as BEST. I believe in BISD, and we need to promote, we need to do a better job of marketing BISD. There have been many accolades within our district, from the 2 blue ribbon schools at Lopez, if I'm not mistaken, for band, that have received national recognition. We have an amazing program of Destination Imagination that encourages our next generation of leaders to work with problem-solving skills, engineering, and team building. So again, it is hard for me to answer that question because I do not have the information in front of me, but we need to do a better job of promoting BISD, of showcasing the amazing talent that we have. That way we can attract and retain our students at BISD.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Garza, it goes to you. The district is projected to lose 5,000 students in the next 5 years. As an elected board member, what steps would you take to address this? Do you favor layoffs, closing campuses, merging schools, or something else? Please explain and provide rationale for your answer.
If we're projected to lose 5,000 students in the next 5 years, I believe we need to take action now. Look at how we can continue retaining these students. Any students that currently leave our district, we need to put out a survey, ask our parents.
Another
Why are
survey.
you leaving our district? That way we can try to stop until we get to there 5 years from now and we're looking at, possible layoffs. I don't want to see anybody get laid off in this district, but if this is a problem that we're seeing now that's going to possibly happen in 5 years, we need to snip it now. We need to take care of it now. By retaining these students, we need to focus on what is the charter schools are offering to our parents that continues sending them that way. If we see that it's always because it's a certain program that they have, our district right now needs to look into getting that program, keeping these students in. If we need to look into getting a magnet program in our elementaries, that those certain magnet
Yes.
programs go into their continued feeder schools for middle school and high school.
Definitely reading the
We need to
answers.
start now. We don't need to wait till 5 years from now. So I believe we need to take care of it now. I don't want to hear about any layoffs in the near future. I don't want to see anybody get laid off. I don't want to see any more school closures. I believe in BISD, and I think we need to continue being the best district we are and not have our students leave to our charter schools.
Too many surveys.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, this question, we'll go to Ms. Garza first. Okay, should teachers lose seniority if they choose not to do supplemental duties outside of their contract, including tutorial?
Yes.
I believe teachers should not be forced to do anything that's supplemental. Those are extras. Those are add-ons. No teacher should be, reprimanded for not wanting to do something. We don't know their current situation. We don't know if they have little ones at home. We don't know what's going on. So if they say, I can't stay for tutorial, or I can't be the dance sponsor or the chair sponsor, we need to respect them, let them keep their seniority, and find a teacher that is willing to do any supplemental work. But our teachers should not be forced to do any supplemental work that they don't want to do and get reprimanded for not wanting to do that because it's not in their contract. I understand if it were to be part of their contract, okay, that's a different view. But right now, those supplementals are not part of contract. If they do what they need to do within their 8 to 5, 8 to 4 job, okay, and that is it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Opinion. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Olivo, should teachers lose their seniority if they do not do supplemental duties outside of their contract, including tutorials? What's your view on this?
We need to do our best to make sure that nothing can be done to hold somebody accountable based on something that they're not required to do. It's unfortunate that people with seniority are disrespected by their employees. They have put in years of service in the district. For us to force them into something that they're not contractually obligated to do. Again, we have seen how time and time again, there is a culture of retaliation within our district. Due to this COVID-19 crisis that we're dealing with, there are a lot of employees who are mortified, who have anxiety, have suffered from depression of the idea of going back. Nobody should be reprimanded. Nobody should be held. This should be held against them because we do not know their underlying conditions. This novel virus is still deadly. We have seen how hundreds of deaths have occurred within our city, 600 within our county, 6 employees, 1 special needs student. And we are still asking whether this is an option. When elected, I will make sure that nobody has to go through this retaliation. We need to respect our individuals, our employees with seniority, and make sure that they know if you don't want to do something, you won't do it. There are enough people out there that would willingly do this. So we should not put somebody at risk forcefully.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the next question goes back to Mr. Olivo. Should classified employees have to go to the bottom of the pay scale if they want to switch from one position to another, such as from a custodian to an educational assistant? What would you recommend as a board member on this matter?
I think it's very important for us to motivate, encourage our employees to get a better pay, a higher way of living. We are in the business of education. If we could promote education from within, we are doing our employees a great service. I would be all in favor of helping, motivating them to get a higher education. I would not be in favor of them getting a loss in pay if they move from one department to the other. Again, we need to encourage, motivate our employees to make sure that they are well taken care of. And if they receive a better position at a different department, we should motivate that. We should encourage them. So no, I am not in favor of us paying them less. We have to give them that seniority period. It's a way of them for us to encourage them to climb up that ladder. We are in the business of motivating, encouraging young men and women. Why not do it for our own employees?
Thank you, sir. Okay, Ms. Garza, should classified employees have to go to the bottom of the pay scale if they decide to switch from one position to another, such as a custodian to an educational assistant? What would you recommend as a board member?
What I would recommend is if they have had, let's just say they were 10 years as a custodian, now moving on to an educational paraprofessional, I think we should honor their years of service, not start them at the bottom. We don't want any of our employees losing pay. You know, as it is, in order to become an educational paraprofessional, you need to have your college hours. It would make no sense for that person who has been serving our district for 10 years, whether it was a custodian, bus driver, but now has fulfilled in order to get those credits in order to go into a classroom now. We should not have our employees start at the bottom. We need to look at the pay scale and honor their years of service that they have given our district.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Garza, and then now this next question is gonna go right back to you. When staff returns to campus on September 21, they are supposed to receive 1/2 day of in-service. How do we maintain social distancing between employees if all employees have to be on campus to receive the training?
On September 21st, when all our staff return, I hope TA reconsiders this. I don't think our schools are ready to open to have all our staff present. But if it's going to happen, I believe that our staff members, our teachers should not be held in a cafeteria or in a gym. I believe that each teacher should stay in their classrooms and they can have their staff development via Zoom. God willing, like I said, God willing, when September 21st comes, TA approves for us to continue those 4 extra weeks
No, it
of virtual.
doesn't exist.
But if that's the case that we need to return, they need to stay in their classrooms and participate via Zoom. We're in no way ready to have everybody back on campus.
No, she was. Frankie wasn't.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Olivo, this question goes now to you. When staff returns to the campuses on September 21, they're supposed to receive 1/2 day of in-service. How do we maintain the social distancing between the employees if all employees have to be on the campus at the same time to receive the training?
I am not in favor of returning to the brick and mortar schools. It's unfortunate that our district has chosen finances over our health as a community. We should not have to return, but the safest way to do it is for all the teachers to be able to log in from their classrooms, from virtual meetings. We have seen how our district has not provided the adequate protection in order to ensure the safety of our students and staff. It is mind-boggling for our special services to be carrying around plexiglass from school to school, for our nurses not to have enough not to have any N95 masks available to them. I do not see why there is this need for us to go back. Our district has not given us the proper resources to make it safe for us to go back. We have put a lot of attention on athletics, on that mist that kills 99% of the virus. It's unfortunate that we pay more attention for our athletes compared to everybody as a whole. The safest way for us to practice distant learning is for all the teachers to log into their classrooms virtually, and nobody should be at the brick and mortar schools.
Thank you, sir. Okay. The next question will go right back to you, Mr. Olivo. Okay, what are your thoughts on district testing, whether it be benchmarks, quarterly checkpoints, or the emphasis on testing? What would you think is the correct amount of assessments that a district should perform during the semester?
It's hard. It's hard because we have got into the business of test. We forget about the stress that the students, that the teachers endure. It's a long school year. And for us to be constantly wanting to test quarterly, I understand that we need to maintain and see the progress of each and every student. But at the same time, we should not wear down our students by constantly testing. As we all know,
And our
going
teachers.
through the
And our staff.
STARS testing that whole week is very hard on our students. We should focus on making sure that the curriculum is being delivered for us to make sure that we are not breaking down, wearing down our students. I will not be in favor of having our students be testing quarterly. Too much testing, we need to be able to get rid of, and we should focus on the curriculum, making sure that we do have 1 or 2 tests for our students to focus on and not wear them down with lots and lots of testing.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Garza, it goes to you now. What are your thoughts on the district testing, whether it be benchmarks, quarterly checkpoints, and the emphasis on testing? What would you think is the correct amount of assessments that the district should perform during a semester? Ms. Garza.
Thank you. Going to our benchmarks, I feel our teachers stress out every time they have to have a 6 weeks benchmark. You should only have to focus on it once a semester, one before the
She's
end of
reading.
when we're going into Christmas break.
You see how
and
she got
then
her notes?
one in February, right before our stars. It is sad that our students are having to test so much and they're not really learning a curriculum. They're actually learning how to pass tests. I feel the STAR test is not really doing any good to our students. We need to go back to teaching our students the basics, because all our kids know right now is how to take a test. They're not learning, they're memorizing. And by putting all that pressure on our teachers and students, we need to eliminate having so many benchmarks every end of 6 weeks. We need to just focus on one per semester.
And thank you
Totally
very much.
reading.
The next question, we've already kind of talked about it, but I'm going to go back to it. Ms. Garza, you're going to be first. Should seniority be a factor in employees keeping their jobs? Ms. Garza.
Could you repeat the question, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Should seniority be a factor in employees keeping their job?
I believe seniority should be a factor in jobs. We have many people who put in so much service into our district, along with always being there for our administrators, and I think that should count for something. And we know that BISD being the biggest employer here in our county for our teachers, their seniority should matter.
okay.
And I feel that says a lot about our district, that we need to give back to them. So seniority does matter.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Olivo, should seniority be a factor in employees keeping their jobs?
No.
It's all about respect. It all boils down to that. We need to make sure that our teachers with seniority, our employees with seniority, know that they are appreciated. And that's something that the district has failed to do.
Tana Ferraz.
We need to do a better job of making sure that we make adjustments to the step scale so they can receive a pay raise each year, opposed to them being capped off at 25, 30, 35 years. We need to encourage, motivate, and retain our teachers. We prefer to pay a brand new freshman teacher less salary, but what we're losing is the knowledge, is the experience that our teachers with seniority bring. I'm all in favor of us making sure that we do everything possible to make sure that we retain and we adequately compensate our teachers with seniority. For me, it's all about respect. When elected, I will make sure that teachers with seniority, employees with seniority, know that they are appreciated and valued within our district.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Olivo, this goes back to you. The next question. BISD has declared a soft opening for students without devices or internet. What is your position on how you would try to achieve the soft opening?
I wouldn't send the kids back. 6 BISD employees, 1 special needs student have succumbed to the virus. What more do we need? The district, from the get-go, from March and April, back when they had their town hall, simulated town hall, we're going to go back sooner rather than later. They have not done the preparations needed for our students to be successful in distant learning. We have a lot of questions going back. Some students will want to go face-to-face, while many parents have stated they are not sending their kids back. What will we be doing? What's going to happen with them? Our district has not given us any guidance in regards to this. We cannot guarantee the safety of our students. We're not ready to go back. The district has failed us in providing a safe place to do so. What are our teachers going to do? Are they going to be recording themselves live while giving face-to-face so our students back home could receive the instruction? There is no guidance. There is no leadership. We have failed as a district, but we are so hell-bent on returning for a soft opening. We are potentially putting our employees, our students, and our community at risk for doing so.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Garza, it goes to you. BISD has declared a soft opening for students without devices or internet. What is your position and how would you try to achieve it?
We're not ready to go back onto campus. For those students who are lacking the devices, we have communities here. We have that Centro Cultural in Cameron Park. You know, if BISD were to possibly put some Wi-Fi hotspots there, our children from that community could go and work out of there. We're not ready to send them back to school. We need to look for other options that we can educate these kids virtually if they don't have the devices. If our district doesn't have the devices to provide for them, we need to go back and see what else we can do to continue virtual for these students, because our district, we're not ready. The safety, we're not even sure what safety measures they're going to take for our teachers, students, and staff. So we're ready, and I think we need to look at other options in order for these students who need those devices. We need other options, not going back to school, because like I said, we are not ready to go back.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, the next question will go back to Ms. Garza. Okay, when special education unit teachers like life skills return to face-to-face instruction, should they be provided with additional PPE equipment
Yes.
since they have an increased exposure to their students? If yes, what additional equipment would you recommend? If not, why not?
My main concern right now is our life skills students, our medically fragile students, teachers who service and provide services to these students. Special ed and BISD, our finance department, needs to give additional funds for them. They need to have every PPE double for our special needs community. If something happens to one of our teachers, our students, who's going to be held liable? We need to find all of that out. Our teachers, they're already provided with gloves. They've already provided with sanitary in those units. But we need to double. We need to take extra measures in order for the safety of our medical fragile students that will be returning. My thing is, I say we keep them homebound. Those medically fragile students need to continue through homebound. I don't think we're ready to even have these kids back on campus for the safety of our teachers and the students who have already low immune systems.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Olivo, same question. When special education unit teachers like life skills and SFL return to face-to-face instruction, should they be provided with additional PPE equipment since they have increased exposure to their students? If yes, what additional equipment would you recommend? If not, why not?
We need to get our medical experts involved, and that is something that the district has failed to do so from the get-go. The COVID-19 committee has not had one medical expert in there to advise us as to what are the best options for BISD moving forward. We are not medical professionals. We are not medical experts. Our administration has degrees in education. We don't know the specifics of the jobs, but they are definitely at risk because there are more students in contact within our special needs department, and there is not social distancing that is being enforced. So there's not a way for us to know what exactly we can do. My option is we should not even bring them back to campuses. There has been a survey on the parents that have stated that only 25% of them will be sending back their students to the brick and mortar schools. Our district has failed to even provide enough PPEs for our teachers. We just got word today that they're finally going to be making students wear masks. How are we going to enforce this with our special needs children? It's hard for us as adults to keep our masks on. Now imagine our children, our most prized possessions. It is not going to work. It is unfortunate, but this district has failed us by not providing the proper PPEs, by not giving us proper guidance. And this is only going to get from bad to worse very quickly.
Thank you, sir. Okay, which takes us to the next question. Okay, Mr. Olivo, this goes right back to you. In your opinion, what should be done with campus administrators who either did not provide PPE equipment to classified workers or that they insisted that they report the campus department to work when the job could have been done from home?
That is not acceptable. Again, it's not safe to go back. Why is administration so adamant on having our employees go back into the brick and mortar schools? We have no leadership at the top. A previous question was of having our deputies, the ones that deliver the message. There are some schools that allowed for teachers, for counselors to go back, while others said, no, you work from home. There is no unison. There is no guidance from the top. We need to do a better job to make sure that we hold those at the top accountable, because we are dealing with human lives, and campus administration was only doing what was told from the top. That is not acceptable. Once we know from the superintendent that this is not allowed, others will trickle down. But we need to start by making our superintendent accountable, by making sure that he knows and understands that it is not safe for us to go back.
Okay, Ms. Garza, in your opinion, what should be done with campus administrators who either did not provide PPE equipment to classified workers or that they insisted that they report to campus or their department to work when the job could have been done from their home?
I think those administrators should have been called in by our superintendent, being that if one campus was allowing people to work from home, yet another administrator was making their campus come in, obviously there was some misinformation there. Superintendent should call those administrators to find out why they did not properly, relay the information to their employees. Right now, a lot of our employees on campus, clerical-wise, are able to work from home. Let's keep them working from home by providing them with the proper equipment that they need to do to fulfill their job. I spoke to a classified employee who told me she had to purchase her own laptop in order to work from home because the district was not going to provide her laptop. So it was either you buy your own laptop or you come back to campus. We're ready to be back at campus for the safety of our employees, and our superintendent needs to let our administrators know that everybody needs to work together, and he needs to relay that information, and anybody who's violating that information that he has relayed, it needs to be brought up there to their attention. And he needs to be held accountable as to what will happen without proper PPE being provided to our classified or to anybody on campus. What's going to happen? Who's held liable? All of that information needs to be taken out to our community so everyone is aware of what is going on.
Which I'm going to follow up on that question. We'll start with you, Mr. Olivo. It's in the same question, but it's kind of a follow-up. So basically, I'm going to ask, do you think an administrator who needlessly exposes a worker to COVID not only should be held accountable, but liable? Mr. Olivo?
Those are legality questions. I'm not here to decipher the law or put blame. What I can tell you is that our leader at the top has failed the district. It does not seem feasible for me for them to do as they're told and to place blame on them. Ultimately, the buck stops with the superintendent and the school board members. They have not provided our employees and staff with the proper resources, enough for them, the teachers, the employees, to go about their day-to-day operations while being safe. It is not fair for me, who is not skilled in law, for me to accuse somebody or blame them and say that they are to be held liable. That is for the district attorney. That is for law enforcement to question. My issue as a board member is making sure that our superintendent is the one that gives the orders and is the one that gives the orders regarding our safety is of concern for our community. We need to do a better job of having open dialogue. There is no dialogue. We don't know what he's thinking. We are failing the district by not working together across the board throughout the district. Some schools do one thing, other schools do another thing. But it all ultimately stops at the top, and Dr. Rene Gutierrez should be held accountable for these actions.
Okay, Ms. Garza, answering the same question, the follow-up question. If administration needlessly exposes employees to COVID-19, should they be held accountable or liable, in your opinion?
I'm no legal expert, but I think when something comes down to that, it comes from the top. Our superintendent is responsible for all employees here of our district. So to put blame on a certain individual from the administrative of the campus, I can't say, oh, that person's held liable. No, the person who's held liable would be, I would say, our superintendent. He is the leader of the entire district. We lead by what he does. So that's something like, our attorney that we pay for our district, the 2 attorneys we have on our district, that's something that they need to look into.
2 attorneys.
Because I will tell you, if we go back to campus and our employees are not given the proper PPE and something happens, we will be having lawsuits in our hands for our district.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, next question goes back to Ms. Garza. As a board member, would you support that the agenda of the administration principals meetings be shared with all district employees to ensure uniformity?
Yes, I am in favor of that. We need to be transparent. everybody in our district, there should be no secrets of what's going on. We are a district, we work for the same employer, we work for one mission, and that mission is for our students and for our teachers and staff. There should be nothing, oh no, we can't share this, no. We need to keep everything transparent, and anything that happens in those agendas with any meeting needs to be forwarded to its teachers, staff, and employees, and also to our community. Our community needs to be aware of what's going on at other campuses as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Olivo, the same question goes to you. As a board member, would you support that the agenda of the administration's principals meetings be shared with all district employees to ensure uniformity?
Yes, I agree. They should be out there for us as a community to know what is going on in those meetings. I would take it a step up and say not only the agenda, but also a recording of these meetings.
Oh,
There have been minutes of these meetings, and there should be shared within the community. We need to stop having this lack of miscommunication going out to the employees by ensuring that there is an avenue that we can connect to. I've been a big proponent of using technology. We are in the digital world. We are dealing with distant learning. This is the future. Why not record our meetings? Why not use our very own BISD, KBSD channel and broadcast it for our community to view? Why is there so much secrecy involved in these? We need to do a better job of having the community come together and having an open dialogue. That is the reason why our community is tired of this board, because they have allowed for individuals to accept bribes in the dark, for things to get done without the public's input or acknowledgement. When elected, I will make sure that everything that BISD does is done in the open. We will use our KBSD channel on a more frequent basis. I want to build a rapport, repair our connection with our community to make sure that everything that gets done, they know about it. It's unfortunate, but our district has failed us in this aspect. And that is something that I'm eager and willing to do on November the 3rd.
Thank you, sir. Okay, going to the next question. You know, when an educator gets hired in the district, he has to pass or she has to pass criminal background checks. And they do that on all of us. So my question is, do you think the school board candidates should have to pass the same criminal background checks that BISD employees do before they are allowed to serve on the board? So the same criteria as teachers, nothing more, nothing less, the same criteria. Okay? Mr. Olivo, how do you feel about that?
Working for the district is one thing. One running for office is totally different.
exactly.
We live in a democratic society where our constituents are the ones that vote for who they want to entrust in them with the great responsibility of being their voice, of being their advocate. I understand your question, and it's a fair question. I understand the reasonings for it, but there are two different things. One is for employment, and the other is for political office. If that's what the community favors, they will let us know while they vote. But for us to say that, oh, this should be one, so this is the other, I don't think that's accurate. Our community has been dissatisfied with the representation with our current leadership. They elect who they'd like. And if that's somebody with a past, the voter, I respect the voters. And ultimately, they are the ones that are going to decide this once and for all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your answer. Ms. Garza, it goes to you now. Do you think school board candidates should have to pass the same criteria, criminal background checks, as does a BISD employee
I believe they do. They should. Just like our parent volunteers who need to also do this background check in order to be on campus. I think our board members should also be following it. I sit on 2 other boards that I need to have a background check done on me yearly. And I understand that, yes, this is an elected position, but we need to keep our children safe as well. We just can't have just anybody walking in without a background check. If our parents who stay and help out our teachers at the parent center need to go through that we all should be going through that. As an ex-BISD employee, when I helped my daughter's dance team out, even though I was a BISD employee and had already had the background check, I had to resubmit one with parental involvement in order for me to be there at my daughter's practices and
That wasn't the
assisting them
question.
with anything they needed. And I believe that, yes, the community has a right to vote who they want to vote, but we still need to put policy and procedure in place on how our board members are visiting our campus and what kind of interactions they are having with our students.
Not the question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this question goes right back to Ms. Garza, the new question. It's another COVID question. And I need to ask it in a way that if we are forced to go back.
You are being
Okay.
forced to go back.
So, I mean, basically, I don't want to go back. We don't think we should go back. Can't really be an answer because if we are forced to go back, okay? So in your opinion, in the COVID-19 reopening, what should the class ratios be if we are forced to go back? Ms. Garza.
I believe our classrooms are very small. Right now, we have some teachers with 30 plus students going back forcefully. There's no way we can have 30 plus students, even 25 students in a classroom. I believe we're going to have to possibly look at 10 to 15 per class, but then doing 10 to 15 may put us in a bind to where we're probably going to need more teachers. Hopefully, we're not forced to go back to campus, because this is something else our teacher needs to look into, how they're going to keep our students and teachers safe during classroom instruction time. Because right now, our classrooms are already jam-packed with 30 to 30 plus students, and minimizing that is going to leave us having to hire more teachers. Right now, who knows? We might have teachers who are certified and don't want to come back face-to-face, don't want a job because they feel that their life is going to be, that it's not safe coming back to campus, and they don't want to get COVID. So they might not be applying for our district or any district.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Olivo. Again, if we are forced to go back, in your opinion, in the COVID-19 reopening, what should the class ratios be?
I would want to speak with the medical experts, see what they recommend. What does the CDC guidelines recommend for us to do? By having the input of the community, we need to understand that not everybody wants to go back. We are being forced to do so. And again, our district has failed us because we have not had a medical professional, an expert in their field in the COVID-19 task force. They were all educators. How do we expect for us that have no medical experience, medical background, medical degrees, for us to implement policy moving forward as to what should be recommended? We need to bring the experts to the table. We need to speak with them to see what they suggest, what they recommend. Based on the CDC guidelines, I would say 9 to 1. I would say 10 to 1. But I'm not the medical expert. I'm just a guy that Googles and stays up to date with the latest news. But that's why I would want doctors who are trained in this profession to come in and give suggestions and give recommendations. Because at the end of the day, we are doing a disservice to our community if we on our own are the ones that implement these moving forward. Nobody wants to go back. We are being forced back due to finances, unfortunately, but we have yet to hear the district bring in Ms. Pons, the head nurse, to see what recommendations she has. We have yet to hear their suggestions and questions regarding pediatrics for our for our elementary students. So I would want to bring in the medical experts for them to give us their recommendations on how we should go back.
Thank you, sir. All right, so here's another COVID question, and it'll start with you, Mr. Olivo. Are you in agreement that our
Exactly.
special ed
Sylvia had
students
no
be
criminal record.
among the first to return to campuses?
No, they shouldn't go back. My platform is on special needs population, on special needs department. From the very beginning, I've been advocating for us to do distant learning from home. We need to work with our parents to see what goals and objectives could be accomplished through home distant learning. We have a lot of special needs students who have underlying conditions. I understand that they are used to structure. They need some sort of routine in their lives. I understand that. But we just had a couple days ago, a special needs student succumb to the COVID-19 virus. They are set to go back on the first day. How does that seem okay? I am shocked that our leadership has not been doing more for our students as a whole, but more importantly for our special needs population. We need to take a step back because they are the ones that need more hands-on compared to everybody else. We are doing them a disservice and we are potentially putting them at risk. So no, I am not in agreement for us to be so adamant on having our kids in general come back. But more importantly, our special needs students, based on this tragic death that we had a few days ago at Porter High School.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Garza, it goes to you. Are you in agreement that our special ed students be among the first to return to campuses?
Well, special ed could be defined anywhere from your self-contained units to your inclusion students. But going to our self-contained students, I know I've spoken to some parents and some of them feel that they want their kids to go back because they feel that they're regressing while they are home. But I think we need to reevaluate their arts and see how we need to change their IEPs in order for them to continue virtual learning at home, because their IEPs right now are written as if they are on campus. So we need to look into that and rewrite
Rewrite your notes.
IEPs for virtual learning. Our students in the self-contained units and going to life skills are not ready to go back to any face-to-face instruction. Student in San Benito who was a homebound student all school year who also passed away due to COVID-19 during the summer. So it is not safe. It is not safe for these students to come back, but we need to reevaluate their IEPs and make them more for home-based instruction right now while we are doing virtual learning. And hopefully we can continue virtual learning for the next semester.
God, they trained her bad.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, next question, we'll go with Ms. Garza first. Dyslexia aids are currently being phased out. If one retires or leaves, they will not be replaced. Are you in agreement?
Our dyslexia program falls under special ed in some districts. And I feel that we need those paraprofessionals
In all districts.
to be in those dyslexia labs, because as dyslexia teachers are working with other stuff, we need that paraprofessional. I don't believe we should be phasing that position out. The last time we phased out a position were the hall monitors, and the safety of our students on campus, that was another position we should never have phased out. I am not for phasing out any paraprofessionals in the dyslexia because those are programs that also fall under special education. And those children need a lot of help when it comes to their reading labs, and we need those people there.
Thank you. Mr. Olivo, dyslexia aides are currently being phased out. If one retires or leaves, they will not be replaced. Are you in agreement?
TASB recommends that a lot of areas need to downsize. I understand that, but I'm do not agree with this position. They are individuals that have special needs positions, and they need to be fully supported. Special ed services continue to be set aside and neglected. What does it have to take for our leadership to finally take the reins in regards to our special needs department? I will be their champion. I will continue to be their champion. And November the 3rd, I will solidify that. I will make sure that our special needs department shines, that we do everything and all to make sure that our dyslexia, our BIs, all of our special needs teachers want to stay with the district. We need to make sure that we do everything possible to know that they are appreciated, that they are valued, because they are in the hands of our most prized possessions, our special needs students. So no, I am not in agreement with this. We need to do everything possible as a school district and even more as a community to make sure that these students receive the proper services, the proper accommodations in order for us to guarantee them success, which is graduation. That should be our goal moving forward.
Thank you, sir. Okay. This one goes to Mr. Olivo. First, right back at you. As a board member, would you support or oppose maintaining our own police department in BISD?
Ooh.
That is something that I would have to reassess once I'm on the board. I'm not too familiar, to be honest, with our current BISD police department. I am aware that we have seen our police chief transfer out recently to PI, if I'm not mistaken. I would need to assess the situation. I do not know the department in and out. I would want to speak to our new police chief, our workers, our officers who are in the campuses, who are our feet on the ground, to see what changes could be done. I am very confident in knowing that I'm sure that we have the best qualified individuals in our school district. All I need to do is make sure that we have that open communication dialogue with these individuals, with this department, to see how we can better service them as a whole. For us to say that we are going to take the reins away from them is not appropriate in my eyes. We need to do everything possible to work together to make sure that this department ensures the safety and security for all of our students and employees. And that should be our number one concern. But we need to do a better job of working together as a team to make sure that together our safety and our security of everybody as a whole is well taken care of.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Garza, so the same question to you. As a board member, would you support or oppose maintaining our own police department?
I am pro law enforcement. My spouse is in law enforcement, and I believe our police department has come a long way. From when it first started in the early 90s with Mr. Pimentel to now, it has grown to a big department. And I am for having and giving them everything they need to keep our district safe. And we need to work together with them and see what they need to continue providing this service to our students, teachers, and staff.
Let me answer the question.
And we need them. They're a very important role on our campuses, especially our high schools and our middle schools. we need to continue having that communication with our police department, with our board, and with our community to continue having this department continue doing what they need to do for our community.
And thank you very much. Okay, that's pretty much it for the questions, but we are going to have your closing statements. Your closing statements will be 90 seconds apiece, a minute and a half. All right. And Mr. Olivo, we'll start with you for your closing statement.
First and foremost, I want to thank Best for this invitation, for allowing me to discuss my platform, my background, my experience, and the reasons why I am the best fit candidate for BISD as a trustee for Place 2. This election is going to be very important moving forward. We have seen at the district that there is no decisive leadership amongst us. We are potentially putting our employees, our students at risk by being so adamant on returning back to the brick and mortars. I will guarantee, I will continue to be an advocate, and on November 3rd, I will make sure that no students, no employees are on the campuses until it is safe. I will be an advocate for our special needs population that has for far too long been neglected, been overlooked. We have seen how our student athletes, our top 10%, always get the praise and recognition, while our special needs department and students are overlooked. It is time that together as a community could join and bring about the positive change that we so desperately need. I've always envisioned BISD of being that district on a hill. Together, we will do it once again. Thank you so much for your time and your patience. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming, sir. Greatly appreciate it. Ms. Garza, closing statement. Ms. Garza, closing statements, 90 seconds.
Thank you, Bess, for the invite, being part of this forum. Come November 3rd, when elected, I look forward to working with our community, being the advocate for special services. It has been brought to my attention that our department almost lost their 7 million SHARS funding due to not having the proper personnel there monitoring the random moment time study. As a board member, I will make sure that they hire somebody for this SHARS program and continue assisting our special ed department, along with giving them the proper equipment that they need, incentives that they need to continue working with our students. We cannot lose that 7 million that our district generates, which is not just SHARS that brings in from special ed, but our nurses bill for SHARS, and so does transportation. We need to give back and continue fighting for that 7 million that our SHARS department generates. And as a board member, I will make sure that we hire somebody to monitor the SHARS program. And again, thank you for having me here, and I will continue advocating for our special ed community and for our teachers and staff.
What about everybody else?
Thank you. I want to thank the both of you from the bottom of my heart for coming and sharing your views with us. Greatly appreciated, both of you. Seriously, thank you very much. That will conclude our forum. Best of luck to the both of you. And again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Lázaro?
Lázaro.
Yes, well, I'd like to extend the same sentiment. Thank you for coming.
I'm done.
Both of you, I think, did really good, and best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the meeting over?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna end it right now.
Meeting adjourned.
Bye.
Meeting adjourned.
This is what happens when I don't prepare my lights well, and I'm on a smaller screen. Let's see how that looks. Let's see. It was a very, very, a big contrast, one with the other. I think we had the opportunity to see, the difference, very, very muy marcado, very, very marcado. Again, I don't want to sound biased. I don't want to sound like, automatically you're going to think that, Frankie did the best and everything else. But guys, I'll let you decide. I'll let you ultimately decide what you think and who you think actually did the better job out there. One of the things about preparing for a forum is, you have to know the subject matter. You have to know what you're talking about. And it was very, very easy to pinpoint and see as to where the different ups and the different downs were in regards to it. Come in. But I'll let you all decide. One of the things that I did is
Fine.
how you doing?
Good.
One of the things that I did do is having visitors come over. One of the things that I did do is, I tried my best not to comment too much in regards to what was going on. And the reason I did that was because I wanted you to be the judges. But there were some answers that, are just ridiculous. I think that they're the reason they're doing it is just to pinpoint on some individuals and not on the others. Stick to the questions. Stick to the things that are important, necessary for the district. All this stuff about, if someone is out there and should be hired or can they run for office, and when you're trying to compare public service with the other, it's just that you're trying to nitpick. But it is what it is, guys. Guys, we have 1 hour and 15 minutes. As that, we'll be back at 9 o'clock, and we'll talk about the forum, and we'll talk about all the other happenings today. God bless. Take care. Be good to each other, and please, please be good to me. Hasta luego. Adios.